From the beautiful Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, this is the Dental Lighthouse Podcast. We take questions from anyone in the dental profession and discuss what it takes to win not only in dentistry, but in life. Business, leadership, relationships, parenting, health and wellness, money management, nothing is off limits on the Dental Lighthouse Podcast. I'm Jason Tenori, your host, and have over 20 years of experience to pull from. Learn from my mistakes and let me help you collapse time so you can become the best version of yourself. Yo, Dr. Jason here, Dental Lighthouse Podcast. It's Wednesday morning. Just got done with a pretty intense upper body workout. Feeling good. And I'm feeling so good that I wanted to give you guys a dose of reality, a slap in the face, if I don't tell you, no one probably will type of message here. And I wish someone would have told me this when I was 30, when I was 32. I figured it out sooner than I probably would have, but I wish I would have figured it out much sooner. I have so many coaching clients, both one-on-one and clients that are in our Friday afternoon group mastermind call, that are in that weird transition of it's funny how it happens, right? They started a practice or they bought a practice at 4 ops, 5 ops, 6 ops. They're at capacity, right? And they're like, what do I do? That's what they have going on the professional side. And then on the personal side, they've been married and again, this is obviously not everyone, but it's a large percentage of the people that I work with. They've been married for 4 or 5 years. They've got 1 child and 1 on the way, or 2 small children, or in some situations, some of the clients I have 3 kids under 5, right? And it's chaos, right? Having 3 kids under 5, and I've been there, I know, right? It's not a book that I read, like I've lived it. It's complete chaos, right? There's sleepless nights. There's so much going on in the morning, so much going on after school. And sometimes these kids are getting to the ages of soccer practice, and I know you're running them all around, and totally get it, right? But the dichotomy or the internal conversation that these docs are fighting with is, I'm at capacity in my 4, 5, 6 operatory practice, and I want to grow. They've done vision work, and they know that they want to turn it into an 8 op, a 10 op, a 12 op. They want to hire an associate. They want to do all these things, right? But they also, kind of learning from my lived experience, they also want to be present for their wife or spouse, I should say. I don't want to stereotype. They want to be present for their spouse. They want to be an active parent during this chaotic time. They don't want to come home from work, and be mentally and emotionally checked out and just kind of sitting on the couch vegging while the kitchen needs to get cleaned after dinner, and baths and reading stories and stuff like this. So it's really, really tough. And you have to decide, you have to make some decisions, right? So the first decision that you need to make is identifying the season of life that you're in, right? And asking yourself, am I going to try to pursue both of these goals? And for this conversation, let's just say personal and professional, right? Personal meaning I'm going to be the best spouse I can be. I'm going to be the best parent I can be. I'm going to be fully present, right? And then professionally, I'm going to buy a plot of land. I'm going to lease out a 3,000 square foot space, and I am going to build a 10 operatory practice that allows me to bring on a couple more hygienists, 1 associate, and grow, right? You can do both, right? It's hard, and I'm going to walk you through what I did to do both during that time. And you can do both, or you can simply decide, I can't do both, and I need to make a decision that for the next season of my life, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, I'm going to be fully dedicated to one or the other, with the understanding that once that season's over, I can get rebalanced or what have you. Now, spoiler alert, I experienced this at a period of my life, and I've seen clients who don't heed my advice say to themselves, okay, if these are the two choices and I'm not going to pursue them both, then I'm going to pursue things professionally because, and the answer is always the same, because once I do this, right, once I have a couple more providers, once I can generate a little bit more revenue, once I dot, 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 then I'll have time, I'll have money to be that fully present spouse, to be that fully present dad. And it's just been my experience that although I have seen it happen, it rarely happens, right? So not telling you to do exactly what I say, but basically asking you to really think about this before you decide. I personally do think that you can do both things at the same time, but you have to manage your time the correct way. And not to bore you guys to death with how we manage our time, because it's not sexy, it's not exciting, it doesn't generate revenue. Well, it does, but not directly. Is owning your calendar, is having an ideal week template and knowing where everything goes. And if you're going to pursue both the professional side and the personal side, the only way I know how to do this, and the way that I did it for 10 years, is dedicating a period of time every day to working on yourself and the business before the chaos of your day starts, before the kids get up, before your wife gets up, before you start having to deal with text messages and Slack messages from the rest of the team. And for me, the only way that I was able to do that is to wake up every morning at 3:45 and get shit done. And that time for me was so sacred that I cannot imagine being as successful or productive as I was at the time if I didn't have that 2 to 2.5 hours carved out every day. So, what I would encourage you to do is just hear me out and then try to develop a habit if you think that you're struggling to pursue both personal goals and professional goals. So I would wake up at 3:45 every morning. But how do you do that, Jason? Your day starts the night before, right? Brian Johnson calls them, not the longevity guy, who's a little weird, but a little interesting. Brian Johnson was one of my coaches for a long, long time. He is, if you want to check him out, you could either Google Brian Johnson Optimize or Brian Johnson Heroic. Got some really interesting methodology. Anyways, he taught me that the perfect day begins the night before with what he calls a PM bookend. And a PM bookend can be 30 to 60-minute session of winding down, putting a period on your day and preparing for the next day. And like clockwork, if my PM bookend was not executed correctly, then the next morning was a shit show. It was a waste. So I wanted to get at least 7 hours of sleep. So I had to start my PM bookend um, usually by 8:30 or so. And it depends, but start your PM bookend. So for me, it was a little bit of journaling based on a Stoic philosophy of what went well today, what didn't go well today, what can I work on? And then I would also have my three big things that I needed to accomplish the following day. I tried to turn off the TV and all the things. I'm not going to bore you with. You guys know all too well. But I was in bed by 8:45, usually reading, usually sleeping by 9. And when I would do that, I could predictably wake up at 3:45 and give myself 6 hours and 45 minutes to 7 hours. And then I would get up, I would make coffee, I would have a big thing of water, and I would have an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half to get shit done. All of the little things that your team's been bugging you about. This system's broken, or how do we handle this, or how do we do this? Like, there's no other time to manage all of this stuff if you're full time at the chair. And if you have three kids under five, then that particular time in the morning. Now, you might be able to figure out another system, but I could not. I tried everything else. I didn't want to wake up at 3:45 in the morning, but there was no other time in the week to do this stuff uninterrupted. So when I woke up at 3:45, I did some journaling. I spent some time with God. I did some reading, and that usually took me about a half hour. And then I had 45 minutes to an hour to work on the business, quote unquote, deep work. And if you turn off your phone and you put certain web blockers on your computer, you'd be amazed at how much work you can get done in 45 minutes to an hour if you're intentional and if it's completely uninterrupted. So every single morning from 3:45 to 5:15, that's what was happening. The only time it wasn't happening is if my PM bookend the night before got off track. If I lost my discipline and had a drink. If I lost my discipline and got talked into watching another show on Netflix. If I lost my discipline and um, agreed to meet some friends out, right? Which happened. I'm not perfect and no one is other than God. But I started to figure out how to say no to those things because I had data to suggest that when I said yes to those things, my AM bookend was not going to happen the way I wanted it to happen. I would either wake up groggy or I would hit snooze or you name it. And now I lost that such valuable 2 hour time, right, in the morning. So for me, 3:45 to 5:15, um, journaling, scripture, meditation, deep work. 5:15, I'd hit the gym. Now I'm blessed enough to have a gym in my own house. If you have that, awesome. You're super blessed too. If you don't have that, then depending on where you are in your fitness journey, there's a lot of things you can do in your house, right? Buy a couple kettlebells, um, push up bars, a pull up bar, you'd be fine. And if you need some ideas, reach out to me. I could give you tons of ideas that would allow you for a 30 to 45-minute intense but manageable workout that is done. Now think about how productive you're being before the first kid even gets up. And now once you've checked all of these boxes, right? We've talked about four futures. So you've checked the muscle box, you've checked the mind box, you've checked the meaning box, and you've um, mind, muscle. I'm drawing a blank here. Mind, muscle, money. And you've checked the money block because you've worked on your business. You're free. Everything else after that is just show up, Jason, right? You go to work and I started seeing patients at 7 a.m. So don't give me the excuse that I can't do it because I see patients early. I can almost guarantee you don't see patients before 7 a.m. I was at morning meeting every single day at 6:45, right? Started seeing patients at 7. One of the advantages of starting to see patients at 7 is you typically are out by 4:30. And then, so anyways, when you're at work, you just show up. Just your assistants tell you where to go. You cross the threshold from the hallway to the operatory, which means you got to turn it on. It's a conversation for another day, but you just did what you're supposed to do. You can get robotic, right? You didn't have to like return emails in between patients. You didn't have to like put out fires over lunch because all of that stuff was done in your designated 2 hours before the day started. And then you'd get home. And again, if there was pressing issues that you had to deal with, you knew that you had a block of time the next morning where you were going to deal with them. So because of that, I intentionally left my phone in my computer, in my car or truck, every single day. So when I walked into the house, I was completely untethered from work. You couldn't get a hold of me. You couldn't email me, text me, Slack me, because I'm also trying to develop the personal side of my life, which is fully intentional with my fully intentional and present with my spouse, fully intentional and present with my kids, fully intentional and present with my friends. And then I had that. Now, what I personally did is once the kids did go to bed, I might check my phone just to make sure that there's no buildings on fire or anything like that. I would rarely reply, right? And then I would do the same thing over and over again. I would start my PM bookend around 8:15. I would be in bed by 8:45 reading. I would be sleeping by 9 o'clock. And then, like a groundhog, I would do the same thing over and over and over again. So, am I telling you to do this because I want you to be more like me? No. And if you figured out a way to do this, if you figured out a way to pursue your personal goals and your professional goals in a different way, awesome. More power to you. Share it with me. I'd love to hear about it. But if you've struggled, like I know a lot of you have, I get on so many discovery calls with with prospective coaching clients. And this is their struggle, right? They have 3 kids under 5. They have outgrown their practice and there's just too much to do. How do I manage it all, Jason? This is a way. This is how I did it for 10 years, 12 years, maybe. And this is how I'm encouraging you to do it. Now, as a lot of you guys know, I don't see patients anymore. I'm the CEO of my business. I'm also the chief clinical officer of my business. Do I wake up at 3:45 every day still? No, I don't. I wake up at 4:45 because I still value time with God. I still value journaling. I still value reading. I still value my workouts. And I do all of that before 7 a.m. And then I spend time with the kids, breakfast, take them to school. And now I have built-in time throughout my day to pursue both personal and professional goals. But I was only awarded the current situation because of what I did for 10 to 15 years leading up to this, right? It's the classic, I'm an overnight success, 10 years in the making, right? So I want you guys to have the freedom in your day that I currently have at 50, but you're not going to have it unless you put in the work now. And when I say put in the work, I don't mean steal from your family. I don't mean steal from your business. I mean, set up your ideal week in a way where every day you can block off 90 minutes to 2 hours where you can work on your mental health, where you can work on your physical health, and where you can work on your business. And if you do this and you stick with it, I promise you, sooner than you think, you'll be in a much, much better place. All right, guys, hope that landed. If you have questions, concerns, you want to fight me, not physically, not emotionally, you want to fight me verbally, don't hesitate to reach out. We could talk it through, get on a podcast and argue, whatever you want to do. My contact information is on the website, dentallighthouse.com. My personal email and cell phone on there. Reach out, ask me questions, poke holes in what I've done. And I'd love to have a discussion with you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. That wraps up another episode of the Dental Lighthouse Podcast. You have a choice today. Choose to be a lighthouse. Lighthouses are powerful and steadfast. They are beacons of light for others to reference when life gets turbulent. Go out into the world today and become a lighthouse for someone. Give more than you get. True joy comes from serving others. Start today. I'm Jason Tenori, your host. Thank you for listening to the Dental Lighthouse Podcast. For more information, podcast show notes, or links to anything that we have discussed today, please check out our website, thedentallighthouse.com. We would love to hear from you. If you would like to get on the show, please email us at podcast@thedentallighthouse.com.